Hi, I'm Andrea Martinez. I'm originally from Colombia. I was born in Colombia and I lived there until I was 13 years old, and that's when I moved here to the United States. I moved to Florida and lived there for 10 years before I came to St. Louis, Missouri to work for the Boeing company. I studied aerospace engineering at Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University in Daytona Beach, Florida. And upon graduation, I started working as a full-time engineer at the Boeing company here in St. Louis, Missouri, working with the Aerodynamics Engineering group, doing a lot of applied aerodynamics work, which entails analyzing airplanes' stability and control, and also performing some wind tunnel testing on some airplanes that are in production and airplanes that are still under development. So, to tell you a little bit about why I chose aviation, I enrolled in a class in geography class in 7th grade, and I fell in love with geography. And I loved learning about the countries, the cultures, all the geographical features about our world. So I think that's partly where my passion for aviation started, because you can tie in geography and cities, cultures, and all the geographical features, you can tie those with aviation. So during the same time, I came to live here in the United States and lived in Orlando for 2 years. And so I lived in an area very close to the Orlando International Airport. And so I started seeing all these airplanes landing and taking off, and my dad would take me to the airport to plane spot, which I really enjoyed. And at the same time, he was also working at the airport, and I would just go and wait for him at the airport and maybe in the terminal area, looking at all the screens with the arrivals and departures. So I was very interested to know where the cities were, and knowing the routes of the airplanes, the airlines. So this was where my passion started. And I got an atlas. So I would take this atlas and sit in front of the terminal area and watching the departures and arrivals displays, and then I would pinpoint those cities in the maps inside the atlas. So that was pretty exciting for me, because I was learning about airlines and how they operate, and also I was learning about cities and countries around the world that came to visit Orlando. I started researching the fundamentals of flight, and so very basic forces of flight, lift, weight, drag, thrust. And so I remember drawing my first airfoil and indicating the 4 forces, but at the time I had no idea what those were. But I still keep this drawing very close to me, because it represents where my passion for engineering, for aeronautical engineer, began. And my sister was also a very big inspiration for me, because she went to pursue her her undergrad and master's degree in engineering physics. So she was also the one that got me into all mathematics, calculus, physics classes when I was in high school. From then, I knew that I wanted to do engineering, and I wanted to focus on aerospace, airplanes, aeronautics. So I said, I'm going to go for Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, which is very close to home. It's in Florida. I can get more aid from the school now that I live in the state, and so I'm going to go there. I'm going to pursue my dream of becoming an aerospace engineer, and so I did. I graduated high school. I moved to Daytona Beach, Florida, and pursued my undergraduate degree in 4 years, while also doing internships at NASA's JPL, which is a Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and also doing an internship at Boeing. So thanks to that internship at Boeing is how I was able to come in full-time at the Boeing company and start working as a full-time engineer. In school, I didn't have the opportunity to know and feel how an airplane operates. So that's why I wanted to take this moment now that I finished school in undergrad. I finished my aerospace engineering degree. I want to feel how an airplane behaves and how it responds to pilot inputs. So that's partly why I wanted to pursue my private pilot license, and also because I want to be able to be that role model that I wish I had in aviation when I was little. I want to be that role model for young girls that were in my shoes, or that are in the shoes that I was when I was growing up. So I want to also be that role model and be a part of the STEM organizations around St. Louis, like Women in Aviation or the 99s, or just other aviation or STEM organizations in general that promote a lot of STEM and aviation outreach. I want to be able to be that role model and hopefully inspire those girls and help them choose a path that I wish I would have gotten when I was growing up as a high schooler. And so when I was searching for a flight school, I wanted to do it at a school that was professional, that took aviation very seriously, and that they knew what they were doing. So I toured a couple and took some test flights in the area of St. Louis. But when I came into Elite, I knew right away that maybe this was going to be the right place for me. I was very welcomed by John Tipton and his wife. They were very friendly, and they were very, very welcoming. So I really appreciated that they took the time out of their busy days to meet with me at 7 o'clock on a Tuesday and give me a tour of their hangar, their flight line. So I really appreciated that, and that showed me since the beginning that they're very passionate. And also the fact that John is a pilot is another great thing, because he knows where we are, he knows where we're coming from. So I really like that about this flight academy. And when I also came into the open house and met with the instructors, met with other staff in Flight and Elite Academy, I knew that this was going to be the right place, because they don't only take aviation seriously and training seriously, but they also take this work-life balance, or this sense for community, this sense for networking. So that was very very attractive to me. They take very seriously women in aviation, so they want to promote more women in aviation. They're very supportive of us, and they make us feel very, very welcome, like we belong here. So after I finished my private pilot license, I want to, like I mentioned before, I want to be able to give back to the community and inspire all these young girls that are trying to achieve the dream of becoming an aerospace engineer, or a pilot, or an ATC controller, or an AMP mechanic, whatever it is in aviation. I want to be able to be there for this girl or young boy, or whatever it is. But I'm really interested in helping out the minority communities. So coming from a Hispanic background, I don't see a lot of Hispanics also in this field. So that would be very inspiring for me.